All right, I think we're good, y'all. I can try to shift it a little.
What he knows we.
Oh, look at it, break.
Well, we'll sit up when the meeting comes, so I guess we'll sit.
That a little better? There we go.
It's still in the center of the room.
All right, we're on, y'all.
So we're live.
Yes, sir.
So I'll declare this meeting of the Surrey County, Board of Elections duly open. I'm gonna do something that I've pondered about since the last meeting, and so I want you to join me in prayer. Lord God, I thank you for allowing us to come together as a board. We pray for your guidance and direction. Help us to discern the things that we need to discern this evening as we meet. God, you touch and bless everything that we do. And we pray in the name of your Son. Amen. Amen. So along with that, I'd like for us to do the Pledge of Allegiance. And Carol has agreed to lead us.
All right, let's all face the flag. You can either put your hand over your heart. If you're former uniformed service, you may render a hand salute if you prefer. Say with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I found out the clay ball is not part of the play either.
I always want to say that.
Yeah.
So, will you, Cindy, will you read the conflict of interest statement?
Yes, sir. Let me pull that up real fast. Sorry about that. Thank you, Mr. Carter. Okay, conflict of interest statement. This was adopted by the board July 18th, 2023. As Surrey County Board of Elections, we have a duty to avoid conflicts or appearances of conflicts of interest. Does any board member have any known conflicts of interest or any appearance of a conflict of interest with respect to any matters coming before our board today? If so, please identify the conflict or appearance of conflict and refrain from any participation in the particular matter. This time I'll ask if anybody has any. If not, we'll move forward. Thank you, sir.
So moving right along, we will, you should have before you, we don't have them read, but you should have before you should have received them, the minutes of the last meeting. The questions, additions, discussion about anything that don't appear right or
Chairman, I make a motion that this printed anything on it. Hey, anything on. But Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of November the 12th, 2025.
we have a motion.
I second.
Have a second to approve the minutes of the November the 12th, 2025 meeting. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Again. Okay. So, does she count in for public forum?
Public forum, I don't think we have any guests. I will double check. It doesn't look like we have any comments online. So I think, yeah, nobody for public forum.
Okay. So, do you want to officially introduce her during this time of public forum?
Okay, this is
Put you right on the spot.
yeah, this is our new deputy director. Her name is Erica Pineda. She's joining us. She started on Monday, so we're excited to have her.
Don't make you face in front of the camera.
No,
You have to come back up. You have to come up here.
Welcome around. So she interned with our office back in 2020 and was working on a political science degree from NC State, and then since then has been with Lake County Board of Elections in Denver.
She's still not here. You have to.
Oh, I think that one's delayed. I'm sorry. I'm
what
on
is it?
YouTube. Here we go. There you go.
Oh, she's in.
Okay.
Then Lake County Board of Elections in their voter registration absentee team. And so, yeah, we're happy to have her here in Surrey. Have her back.
Welcome
Yes, I
back to
should
Surrey.
say. Yeah.
I hear good things about you from your old boss.
I'm happy to hear it. It's good to be back home.
Well,
It's kind of an adjustment from a large county, but I'm here to serve our county and make sure we can send out.
glad you're here. Glad you're on board.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is Spirit Street 1 precinct clerk relocator.
All right, and I included a resolution in y'all's packets, but I actually, Chris had caught a typo in that, so I had passed around an updated copy there. So,
Make sure that on the third whereas, the third line, it says no later. The one that you are reading from.
Yeah.
Okay,
I know
Third paragraph, third line, right?
yeah,
we had discussed possibly moving that precinct location, and staff has met with, members of that community, and they're all for having us at the Beulah Community, Center there. It's about half a mile from where we currently are. So we have to give 45-day notice in the newspaper and then 30 days, to all the voters in that precinct of a precinct move. And then also, adopt a resolution that will be noticed in the newspaper. I think that's everything. We did the ADA survey. The only thing we saw is, right now it's a gravel parking lot. It's kind of two sides gravel parking lot. So what we talked about is possibly like cementing an area for handicap parking and then maybe just extending a rail in on the ramp. That's one of the things we saw, and we feel like wouldn't, be too much of a cost, and also we get with county maintenance to work on those things.
do we need to read the entire resolution?
No,
Okay.
the resolution will be part of the record when after you adopt.
And also, I wanted to ask y'all too, so yeah, we have to notice it to the voters, and so what we normally do when we have precinct changes, we send the voters a letter explaining, where the precinct move is and where, they're gonna be at now. And then on the back side of the letter, usually we have like an aerial image of it and show exactly where parking is, that sort of thing. And in the past, we've actually did 2 mailers. It's only required, I think, to do 1, but we've kind of spread them out. The board recommended that we do 2 just to really hit all those voters, to remind them as it gets closer to election day. And then also we'll plan on putting up signs at the current precinct, to remind people if they accidentally show up to the wrong one, to direct them, half a mile down the road. Actually, you're here now. And we'll do that for the next several elections. Because I know a lot of people won't probably come out for a primary in a off year when you don't have governor or president on there. So we'll do that for the next couple elections as well.
So what say you?
Do we need a motion to accept this resolution?
Yes, sir.
Make a motion to accept this resolution as presented.
We have a motion on the floor to accept this resolution to relocate Spirit Creek 1 precinct.
I'll second that motion. That's the exact thing that we discussed during our last meeting.
Right, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we will vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution, Spirit Creek 1 is,
And then, yeah, we'll just need a copy with y'all's signature, please. And you got it.
Sure.
I copied it
Okay,
using his copy.
sounds good.
Oh, you already sent it down the line.
so the next item is to, talk about 2026 early voting precinct officials appointment.
sir. And so, I provided y'all all with a list, for each location. So we voted on, having 4 sites, Mount Airy, Dobson, Elton, and Pilot Mountain. And so how the process works, it's kind of similar to election day, judges, chief judges. So we reach out to both local parties. And what we had did was we provided them with, a list that looked very similar to the list you received of recommended people that, most of them have worked before in the past. And for early voting, unlike election day, these people have to be on county payroll. And so that is a little bit of a process, that we have to do drug background checks. Whereas on election day, they just get a check, that sort of thing. So I reached out to the parties, provided them with lists that we recommended, but said, if you want to add names, take away names, anything like that, let us know. I do ask that if you have names that hopefully out of the 2.5 weeks that they'll be able to work at least a week, just so it's worth our time and energy, money to get them on payroll. So both parties, provided the list back. The Democrat Party did not add any names. The Republican Party did send me 6 additional people, or excuse me, 6 people. And, let's see, I'm sorry. Out of it was 5 people from the party, I'm sorry. One of those people, I called and they didn't want to commit. They work full time and run their own business. But their spouse is gonna work, but they were on the list. And then another person that was provided from the party, the phone number that I had, was one for Surrey Community College. It was just like a general line. And I reached out to the party chair, and since then he hasn't got me a phone number. So that's the reason. Those 2 names aren't on here, but the other 3, you'll see, they're actually under Republican judge for Dobson early voting site. And by law, actually, only Mount Airy, Elkin, and Pilot are the sites that have to be appointed. The site here at the office doesn't have to be appointed people, but we're always open if people are willing to work. Of course, that's completely up to y'all, but if these people are willing to work, and I will say one of them, Kim Adams, she has worked election day for us in the past. So out of all these names, there are 6 new people, including the 3 that were submitted by the Republican Party, but everybody else has worked early voting for us in the past.
Was it much difficult getting Pilot Mountain man?
No, not overall, because most of the time, if we don't have pilot site, we'll have those people come to like Mount Airy most of the
No one
time.
changed that.
So now, they'll have a shorter drive. So, overall, I think, it wasn't too bad.
That's people from
And
down.
had one new person in, Pilot Mountain as well. He's a spouse of a current, early voting worker there, so they'll just have to split shifts, and your relatives can't serve together, so one might work the morning shift, one might work the evening shift, or different days, that sort of thing.
And then notify of this, so.
Yes, once you, approve these, we will definitely notify them that you have been appointed, and we have got their availability, but we haven't set schedules yet.
Portable table.
And unlike, from what I read in the law, unlike, election day appointments, this does not have to be unanimous by the board. And they are allowed to serve partial shift, like I mentioned. So normally we do shifts from, about 7:45 a.m. till 2 p.m. and then we'll do an afternoon shift to about 8 p.m. But there's some people that want to work as much as possible, so they might work that all day shift, but we do allow split shifts for people's schedules for early voting. We just started that, I think, maybe in 2022 maybe, and I think, been pretty successful. But it's a long, 15, 17 days of working, so
Yeah.
that seems to break it up a little
I have a question
Sure.
that was brought up to me. Someone's been assigned to a precinct that's 15 miles away when there's a precinct not even a mile away from his house. How does he go about changing
To work or to vote?
to vote?
The precinct lines are, yeah.
Well, you-
We,
Said,
in Dobson, I don't know where, exactly where, but I know that there are people that travel from the White Dirt Road or near the White Dirt Road that are on the south side of the line that have to come to the Dawson 3 site.
mhm.
Because I've worked Dawson 3
Yeah.
and they, you know, they drive by this,
Mhm.
you know, to get down there and they say, why couldn't we precinct lines? It's the same deal with, nobody can find John Dale.
No, that's exactly the situation. He lives in White Plains, he's getting along in seniority. And he has to drive all the way from White Plains all the way over to the far side of Dobson. I think it's 3.
Yeah, yeah, we.
Yeah, when the voting, the White Plains voting poll place is to come out of the drive, go to the left, and it's on the right. I mean, you know, he's at the fire station. How would he go about possibly changing early vote?
Really good. Yeah.
Well, he does early vote.
Yeah.
I know he goes to Dobson to do that.
About it, no matter how you draw the lines, there's probably gonna be somebody in that situation.
Well, it's
I
a
mean,
whole little group of housing, is all in the same boat.
Yeah, that's, it. You guys don't wanna get in the business of redrawing precincts. And that's the only way to do it, other than tell them you can vote anywhere you like in early voting. Or you can vote here.
If he's at White Plains, he can go to Mount Airy and.
Yeah.
Early vote option,
Yeah.
really, that's kind of halfway.
I'll explain that to him.
It's a problem.
We'd have to redraw the precinct
Yeah,
lines.
and
and that's not gonna
I was gonna
happen.
ask you
there's
how
both.
he was working. You usually do try to keep them close to home, but sometimes we do ask them to travel out of precinct, but we
I
do pay
will
on mileage.
I will
But
explain
yeah,
that.
for voting, it's a little different.
Yeah.
I will explain that, because
Okay.
he doesn't like to drive.
Okay.
Okay.
Sydney, you feel good with your list that you have here? You got plenty to cover what you've got to do.
I feel like, I think, with it being a smaller election, even though we have 4 sites, I think we'll have enough. And we have got all of their availability so far. And so we just have that in a chart right now. We haven't really built out the schedule. We wanted y'all to approve or not approve before we start really building out that schedule. But I do feel like we'll have good coverage. And if it's really busy those first couple days, we can always, you know, add a couple more people to each site as we go on too.
Well, say you,
Chairman, I'd make a motion that we accept this list as provided by our director for, the primary election.
I'll second that.
have a motion and a second to, read it like it says. To approve the early voting precinct officials appointment. Any further discussion?
Now, we'll note that's just for this primary. We do it each election, unlike, election day. It's just for this primary election.
Point of information. So if we have a runoff, we'll have to go through
Because we will re-vote on how many sites we have,
Yeah.
so we'll redo this as
Okay.
well. So if we only have 1 or 2 sites, or whatever, we'll reappoint poll worker or early voting officials.
Right, okay.
Revisit it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So, as we're passing this around to sign, the next item is the 2026 MAT team report.
Matt,
Yes,
Matt,
sir.
Tammy?
Yep, and I probably should have spelled it out. Multi-partisan Assistance Team is what that stands for. And so the MAT team is, a bipartisan team of precinct officials that can go into covered facilities, so nursing home, hospitals, that sort of thing, and assist the voters that don't have family members or somebody to assist them with either registering to vote, requesting their absentee ballot, or even, assisting them fill out their ballot and their ballot envelope if needed.
And that's so that the, staff on them and a nursing home doesn't make the voting decisions. Thank you.
Is that the reason these were developed?
So it's one of the reasons, yeah.
And I think by law, the way it is now, and correct me if I'm wrong, the staff can help them if it's due to disability. But from what we found, most staff want to stay out of that. You know, family members, of course, are encouraged if they have family members that wish to help them, but some people don't have family members, or even during COVID, their family members weren't allowed to come into the facilities, but our members couldn't be restricted. So we had teams suit up in hazmat suits that went out, but it's always a Republican and Democrat member that go out, and if for some reason some counties, you know, can't get enough Republicans, Democrats, unaffiliated can fill in, the board has to like appoint them as well. But everybody that I have on the list that I provided you, you have a list, I think we have 5 Democrats and 4 Republicans. I did have 5 of each. One Republican member that has did it for a while said that she wanted to step down and didn't want to do it anymore, so I can still try to look for another one, but this is more people than we've had in the past. Normally, we've had 2 to 3 teams, but I wanted to have a few more because, I think actually every single one of these people, besides one that I see on here, work early voting. So we use, you know, most of our poll workers for multiple things. So that way we're not pulling away from, you know, 3 or 4 people from out early voting, that sort of thing. So that's why I try to add more people. And, the majority of these will be new members. 2 of these have served on the MAC team in the past. And, we plan to have training in January for the MAC team members. It's required by law, and then, we'll start our visits after that.
They're all angry. The people that do that's those are good people that go and do that. Anybody that works elections, that's a call and to do it, but that takes somebody special to go and do what they do.
Now,
Genuinely,
Are they invited in, or do they call and make appointments to go to a facility?
So what I recently did, I think last week, I reached out to all the facilities that I could find in Surrey County. And just said, hey, you know, I'm new as director, introduced myself, and then, several of them we've served in the past with MAC teams. Explain the process. We have a form on our website, and I sent them the link to that. And that's where they actually request MAC team visits. So it just has their information, how many people we're looking at serving, if it's more than, you know, less than 10, if it's more than 20, that sort of thing. And then their contact information. And most of the time, our contact is like their activity director. So it has to be, a request.
Okay.
And sometimes it's only, you know, 1 or 2, and sometimes it's 20 or 30 from a facility. So, once I sent that out, I sent email, and then one email bounced back, so I actually sent everybody a letter with the same information in it to all the facilities. I've heard back from 2 already, so we probably will have some MAC visits, coming up. I don't expect to hear from every facility, but we have heard from 2 so far.
Okay.
you say 2 of these have served in that capacity before.
Yes, sir. Only 2. It's a Republican member and a Democrat member.
That's
So,
great.
what my plan is, at least the first couple of visits, hope we partner them up with a rookie. And so they can kind of show them the ropes and learn it, and then hopefully, you know, kind of loose a little bit, but they'll all get the same training.
Their value will be immense in the training side of it for the others.
Yes,
That's where
exactly.
Right. So, what's that?
I'll make a motion, Chairman, that we accept the 2026 primary election MAC team members as presented by the Director of Elections.
And that she can recruit more. If
Yes.
And I'll
Exactly.
present those, if we have one more
we would have
Republican.
to approve them.
Okay, so that'd be a separate thing.
Yeah,
Address
if I find
that. Okay.
another one, if somebody
That's
wants to
fine.
drop off and something like that, well,
I got you covered. Second.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the 2026 primary election MAC team members. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So, next item of business,
Something else to find real quick.
okay. Early voting inclement weather resolution.
I'll get them. I'll just make sure I get them all. Yeah, and another counties, and I can copy those, and I can add that too.
Well, this makes sense. Basically, we'll follow the Surrey County government's.
Are we ready to move
Decision.
on to the, inclement weather resolution?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. And so this, I guess with the weather last week or the past couple weeks and filing going on, the county had either delayed opening a couple times or one day they sent us home early. So it got me thinking about, early voting coming up and in the election in general. And so I was talking to another director in a different county, and he had mentioned that they normally do a resolution to reflect closures and delays, that kind of thing of the county, just to protect staff and their poll workers. So I just wanted to see if this is something y'all are interested in or that sort of thing. And I also talked to the State Board of Elections and just, double check that this would be permissible. And they told me to look to number memo 2020-04, and I believe I attached that in there. And I'll read, let's see. It says, if possible, you should update your website, office voicemail, which we would do, and we did do during filing whenever we had to close early. And then also it says, in advance of inclement weather, county boards of elections are encouraged to discuss these matters and establish an emergency plan, including policy regarding closure of one-stop sites in county offices. The county government offices will be closed due to the impact of weather event. This means that your county has determined it's not safe for the county to be open. Due to the need to protect voters, officials, or to protect election officials and voters, your board may find it necessary to determine whether a one-stop site or sites should also be closed. Because the county board of elections, not the county commissioners, establish one-stop sites for the county, your county board of elections will need to make an unanimous determination about any modifications to its adopted plan. So I just wanted to.
If they do the county rules, say, no, keep off the highways, close highways, stuff like that, and then we have to, will be posting a sign on those voting places that says, vote next, what date they can come in and vote.
So, with like county government, I think really what we're talking about is if like the county closed, like county
Right.
government offices.
Yeah.
So, depending on how early we knew that, we could try to do signs, but if something came up overnight and then we wake up and they say, okay, there's a blizzard today,
Okay.
we'd definitely update our website, send out emails, social
So
media, that sort of
the
thing.
primary
but-
notice will be the website.
Yeah.
If it was a primary election day, the state board would come in and intervene as far as saying when any extended hours
Yeah.
or
This would
days
just be
would
for
be.
early,
Yeah, just for early, okay.
early voting.
So this resolution brings basically a hodgepodge of what numbered memos from the state, the county policy, and that we're coming in agreement with what we say between all of it. It's a resolution bringing everything together.
Yes, sir. I don't think this is something we did in the past. I just thought maybe being proactive instead of reactive. I know whenever we would have a file and I was trying to stay open those days, and I was pretty close by. But the one day it started coming down and we ended up actually closing early, I decided that will close early and go home just for everybody's safety, that sort of thing, so. Just trying to think ahead of things, because we did back in, I don't remember exactly what election, 2020, 2022. We stayed open and there was snow on the ground, but the rest of the county was closed. And we actually had a poll worker that was working at Mount Airy early voting that lived in Pilot Mountain. And she's never late, anything like that. She's always calm. She comes in a little late, still had that same attitude, and told us that she had gotten an accident on the way there because of the snow, the ice, that sort of thing. And of course, we felt terrible, but she still showed up to work and worked the rest of the day. And that's just the poll workers we have. I mean, they're gonna, if they've signed up to do something, they're gonna do it. But just want to think of ahead of time about our poll workers and our full-time staff as well. And our voters too, that would be coming out. And most likely, if there is bad enough weather that the county's gonna close, most voters are probably gonna stay home. I mean, you know, they'll have those few, but.
And voting's gonna be in March,
Yeah.
so there's very little chance this would even be implemented,
Yeah.
but it's a good idea. Have it in place. I think that's not a bad idea.
Don't
Yeah,
jinx
now you
it.
said that.
Yeah.
I don't remember 1960,
Man,
but I've heard a lot.
wow,
It snowed every Wednesday.
3 weeks.
In March?
Yeah, in March.
Oh, man.
1960.
And I think that was a primary that I was
Oh,
talking
well,
about too.
maybe.
Yeah, because otherwise it would have been for early vote probably October. So I think it was a February, which early voting is February 12th and 28th. So it's a good chance of weather still.
It could be, yeah. I'm sorry, I stand corrected. I think this is reasonable.
Oh, I'm gonna step on a limb here and, as other boards do it, I'll make the motion that we adopt this resolution for inclement weather, as you've got it written, and do I hear a second?
A second.
We have a second. Is there any further discussion? I do say that it is a good, safety is always a good thing. Hearing no other discussion, we will vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Madam Director, it was unanimous.
All right, awesome.
Good job. Way to put that.
And he's starting it around.
Speaking of accidents, I got clobbered Thursday before last, somebody cut me off and.
So as we pass
The
this
whole
on,
left side of my vehicle on.
Not good. I'm
Well,
sorry.
we're glad you're all right.
Yeah, well, I was
The
on
car
my way to work and she didn't see me. She was daylight, said you didn't see me. And I'm trying to figure out how, she came up from behind me. Drove right down the side of my car, tore the front end, you know, kind of. I said, how did you-
so the next item,
Our phone.
the next item on the agenda is for the absentee by mail meetings schedule.
Yes, sir. So, by statute, absentee by mail meetings, and please correct me anytime, are set at 5 o'clock, but, that's completely up to you all. If you want to keep them at 5 or want to move those up, for the majority of those. I will point out the March 6th meeting. So the law has changed. We used to do our provisionals, 10 days after election day, but that's been moved up to now 3 days after election day. That we have to have all that in, and anybody that has to bring documentation, you know, if they didn't have their photo ID, anything like that, they have until 12 o'clock that day. So that in now has to be between, 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock, or 12 o'clock and 5, I think. And so that's why I put on there 1 o'clock. That's completely up to y'all, at least to give staff an extra hour to do that research on if anybody happens to bring that right at 12.
Right.
And then Canvas is also set by statute at 11 o'clock, as well. So, that's completely up to y'all. If you want to make any changes, I can definitely type, make a few edits. That was just kind of a template resolution for y'all, but completely up to you all.
And this was not included if we had to have any hearing for any.
Challenges, anything, yes, sir.
Challenges that we usually would start hearing on Canvas, the day of Canvas, at say, typically couple hours before that has to be cured or adjudicated before canvas.
Yeah, now, if it's something that has to happen before canvas is over, that sets something in your timing. But you can't double book timing. You can have like a meeting set for 5 o'clock and some sort of challenge comes up. You can say, we're gonna have that 5 o'clock as well. And just do one then the other. You can, like I said, double book a meeting if you need to.
And I will point out too, that in the past, I know on election day, we have did our absentee meetings at 2 o'clock on that day. But the law has changed where we used to could close down the early vote machines at that time. And now we can't do that until 7:30. And so that's why I put the 5 o'clock meeting on there, because once again, it's set by statute. You can, as long as you make notice, you can move those meetings up. But I left the 5 o'clock so we could do our absentee meeting. And then if we get done early, we could, recess for a little bit, come back at 7:30, or just, if we're still roll on through 7:30, close down the machines, that sort of thing.
Makes the night a little longer.
Yes, sir. And 7:30, there's nothing else going on. The polls are closing at that time too, but.
Returns come.
Exactly, yeah, so it's a busy time, but, that's why I put on there 5 o'clock instead of the 2 o'clock we did in the past. But that's completely up to y'all. And I think the law just says we have to notice it, trying to find where it says that. If we did it now, we have plenty of time to make changes. And I would post that to our website, that sort of thing.
Yeah, if you wanted to change anything that's not set by statute, just 48 hours and you can make adjustments.
I think we have done some of them move even the earlier meetings up, maybe 4 o'clock. When we knew we would have a lot of provisionals, a lot of stuff that we were working through. Just so it wouldn't run as late, especially at the front end. But
That's completely up to y'all, and I know your
That's just,
schedule.
my
and
schedule, it might be changing.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
no,
So, yeah, we're good with whatever y'all want, we'll make work, but I just wanted to go ahead and kind of put that in front of you and get the thinking and.
I have a question. March 2nd is a Sunday. Is that intentional? Is that?
March 3rd's a Tuesday, because it's election day, so that should be a Monday.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong year.
Okay.
Never mind. I was just calculating that soon. Is it falling on a Saturday or Sunday?
I'm sorry, I should put those. So all of our absentee meetings are on Tuesdays, and then except for March 2nd, that's the day before election day, so that's a Monday. And then March 6th, I believe, off the top of my head, I think it's a Friday.
It is.
Okay, and then March 13th, that's Kansas State, that would be the
Okay.
next Friday.
Correct.
Yeah, so other than that, they're all Tuesdays, and those are set by, statute, but if we don't have any absentees, we'll notice it and cancel the meeting. But even if we have one, from our understanding, we have to have a meeting.
Need a motion on that?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna move we accept as presented.
We have a motion, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this early voting absentee by mail meeting schedule. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we will vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So as that's passing, then.
I think that's the last thing to sign, I'm sorry, y'all. You get a lot to it.
So we'll talk about buffer zone.
Sure. Okay, so each election, we have to adopt buffer zones, and so this is, I think by minimum, it has to be, it can be no longer than 50 feet, but can't be less than 25 feet. And so this is where, anywhere outside of the buffer zone, election-related activities, so people campaigning can do that, but inside those buffer zones, they can't. So they can't hand out any literature, they can't talk to voters, hey, vote for me, that sort of thing. And so here on the list that I provided you, in the past, this is what we did. I did update Stewart's Creek 1, with the new location at Beulah Community Center. We measured that, me and Andrew went out a couple weeks ago, and you have in your packet some pictures of that. We measured 50 feet. On each side, it almost makes it to the gate post there.
Yeah.
Pretty close, yeah, but not quite. So, we kind of recommended 50 feet there as well. The only one that's not 50 feet you'll see is,
Pilot,
yep, Pilot Mountain. So we use that same site for early voting and election day.
what you got?
We have 40 feet there just by the layout of the parking lot. If we did 50 feet there, there's a Dollar General on the one side, they would almost be too, it kind of goes up a hill, they would have no room to campaign that if we did 50 feet. So in the past, our board did vote to do 40 feet there. Once again, that's completely up to y'all. I just kind of provided you with a template. We can make any changes, if you want to there.
And the law is somewhere between 25 and 50.
Yeah, minimum 25, but can't be more than 50.
That's actually pretty generous, because a lot of them have a 75 foot.
Oh,
to 100
they
foot,
say, yeah, yep, exactly.
A footnote to the pilot rescue for 40 foot, buffer zone. Having in years past seen the photograph that was made by staff, it needs to be 40 feet for the good of the outside campaign workers. Because if you go 50 feet, like what she said, it puts it way up a bank or
I mean,
out
things
it.
like that, I mean,
Yeah,
you could,
yeah,
yeah.
So it don't work.
Okay.
If you don't have 50, if you don't have 40 feet, we're gonna get a lot of calls from the campaign workers for the people on the ballot.
Those are the, of the parties will probably get, their phone will probably ring off.
Sure.
So what say you?
Do we vote on this, or this is just informational?
To,
Information.
you did a vote on it.
Oh, we did?
But we will have to sign. Let's
No,
start
no,
on
No
those.
I don't
sign.
think it's a resolution, it has to be.
He's familiar with it from seeing the same thing in the past. I'd make a motion that we adopt it as presented, Mr. Chair.
A second.
A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? So we proceed to vote on the 2026 buffer zones. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
It's worked well in the past.
So we've come
In
to-
some places we have, I know you probably noticed it out here, like a painted line, but this is a county facility. Other places it's a chalk line or a cone like that with a sign. It just depends on the location. I mean, if it's gravel, it has to be a sign, but our poll workers are out there, if it's not a painted line, out there early in the morning in the dark with a tape measure marking that line. I saw them do it the night before, you know, but
I've done it.
exactly.
I've also enforced it.
Good job.
Have you had a lot of problems with it? People ignoring
No,
the rules?
what generally happens if it becomes an issue is because it's a chatty thing
Okay.
and they're
So it
walking.
walks across.
and they lose track of where they're at. It's all, you know. And I'm not. I can call names.
I bet.
Just for information, is there a penalty or a resolution if someone blatantly ignores a rule? What's the recourse? Is it a criminal thing, or is it what do you do?
Is it cause people to tell other voters, don't vote for that person?
The
Well,
other
it
campaigners
does
are
that.
usually paddle.
Yeah, it does that, but it's a violation, but,
There's really no enforcement.
it's like a lot of things, the enforcement is sort of, you know, you're sort of swatting the fly with the bazooka.
Okay.
It's, you know, if you say there was a voting irregularity, you can void the election or void certain votes, which are all extreme measures. But it's rare that it creates an issue.
Okay.
Normally, I think if we had an issue and we knew who it was, you know, had complaints, we would try to reach out to that candidate. And then if that
Generally,
candidate or that.
when I was when I was chief judge, I would just go out and just say, look,
Move back.
yeah, we don't want any problems, you understand it, it's in the law, and
Yeah, the election director can in effect say, because you're creating a disruption, you can't be here.
Okay,
And they actually can use law enforcement to enforce a trespass.
okay.
Now, that's pretty
it's
pretty aggressive, and I've never heard anybody having to do that.
And
I
then
mean, not
normally
just here, but anywhere.
to that person individually, and then also if they're with a party, maybe try to reach out to their chairperson and just remind them of, hey, these are the rules that everyone's expected to follow.
Spit out of blast.
Hey, Madam Director, is there any other business that is not part of the closed session?
Yes, sir, the only thing I just wanted to let y'all know, you got a flyer in there. We are having a candidate information session, that we're kind of partnering with the city of Mount Airy on. It's gonna be on December the 22nd at 5:30 at the Mount Airy Council Chambers. It's gonna be similar to the session we had, when we partnered with the Chamber of Commerce, just giving, candidates basics, reminders about buffer zones, things like that, campaign finance, just to help them in their campaign. So we're hosting that. I just wanted to let y'all know. And then, candidate filing ends tomorrow at 12 o'clock. So you will know it.
Easy day tomorrow.
We'll see. Today had been too busy. I saw maybe one or two whenever we started the meeting, but, yeah, we'll see. So that's everything on my end unless y'all have anything.
No other business?
Mr. Stevens, is there any other business that you need to bring that's not part of the closed session?
No, sir.
I'm good. Thank you.
Tom, Guard,
I'm good.
Mr. Fields, Counselor,
Nope.
a new worker. So, at this time, we need to go into closed session.
Motion, we move into closed session. Second.
Well, motion and a second to go into closed session. I don't know the Robert's rules on that one, if there's, can be discussion, but probably not,
Any motion can have a discussion.
except adjournment.
Except, sure, that's right.
Any
So,
dis-
yeah,
Okay.
you could talk about it if you wanted to, but.
Okay, we'll vote. All those in favor of going into closed session, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are in closed session.
Don't mind.
So I now declare the Surrey County Board of Elections out of closed session and back into open session. Mr. Conway, if you will, open the door. We voted on, we took no action on anything in the closed session that requires it to come before the open session. So therefore, any other business? Hearing none, I would, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion,
Second.
adjournment motion cannot be discussed, so we will vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?